All the trees high enough, baby. Leave it so high your feet won't touch the ground.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Would you look at
This is now the 8th episode of Flight Coach Drizzy. 8 episodes so far, and it's amazing. This episode, however, is going to be on international travel. My favorite. I love traveling internationally. So many different cultures, so much to learn, so much food to taste, and that's what we're going to discuss on this episode. So first, I wanted to discuss paperwork, because every country that you travel to has different customs forms, they have different entry forms, and all of those are usually passed out on the aircraft. They should be passed out at the beginning of the flight, so it gives you time to actually fill out all of those papers. So many different kind, and the flight attendants will make announcements about those papers at the beginning of the flight, letting you know what should be collected at the end so you can turn onto the country at which you are arriving. Is your phones and Wi-Fi. You must have some kind of international data plan because you don't want those roaming charges when you travel. Roaming charges suck and they start adding up really quickly. So make sure you contact your phone service provider and see what your international plan is like, and if you can convert it to international plan throughout the duration of the time that you're in another country, it's good because you might save some money that way. Also, Wi-Fi is important because if you can't use your phone, you could at least use iMessage or your computer in order to track down any information or to research anything close by. This right here is a universal converter. You look at the front, international prongs, plug it into the wall, and then on this side you can put in your charges for your computers, your laptops, your phones, anything, and it converts. It's always good to travel with because you never know where you're going to end up or be, and not everywhere has the typical United States outlets. Whenever I travel, I always suggest researching the language most oftenly spoken in that country, because it's very hard to travel to a country where they don't speak English and you have no idea what's going on. And I'm not saying learn that language because it's almost impossible to learn a language in a month if you plan on going in a month. However, you probably should know how to say food or hunger or directions, little basic words that'll help you communicate with those who don't speak the same language as you. So do a little bit of research. You can just type it in on Google. Spanish to English, French to English, Swahili. There's so many different languages out there. Money exchanges are also cool. They're important. Every country has different currencies, so it's good to make sure that your money is exchanged properly. But I usually go to the airport. That's sometimes the best or easiest or most convenient place to exchange your money because they have basic rates. They're not always the best rates, but it's an easy, convenient way to exchange your money. So there's always currency exchanges at different airports. Whenever I go to a new country, I always try to try new foods. I love to eat. My dad's a chef. I was a fat kid growing up. Everybody laughs about it, but it isn't that funny. What's the point of going to South Africa and eating Kentucky Fried Chicken or McDonald's? You might as well go to some of their base restaurants and try their different kind of foods. I know when I went to Senegal, we had a tradition where we all sat around a big bowl and ate a whole bunch of rice and chicken, and everyone just dug in, and it was just like a big feast. The food was amazing, and we had a really good time. I was really young at the time, so I was a little iffy about sitting around a big bowl and digging my hands into food, but now, as I'm older, I get that it's culture, and if I'm gonna travel there, I might as well embrace the culture. I always try to contact locals, people who have actually lived or are currently living in that area, because locals always know what's best. Think about where you live. You usually know what's going on in the area around you, the best restaurants, the best places to party, the best places to meet people, the best museums. Locals always know what's going on around. And I do think touristy things are important as well. I went to South Africa and went to the Apartheid Museum when I was 17, and it was amazing. I learned so much that I didn't necessarily learn in America, and it was just great to be in a place literally learning their culture in a country of culture. It's one thing if you're in America and you're learning about the apartheid, but it's another thing to be in South Africa and to learn about the apartheid, and it's a total different experience. So I do suggest definitely doing touristy things. They're fun. Why not? Why not go to Paris and go to the Eiffel Tower? It's amazing. Lastly, Whenever you travel internationally, you always come back and you go through customs. People don't know that you're supposed to collect your bag in customs if you're connecting to a city outside of that airport that you just landed in. So for example, if I'm coming from Amsterdam and I land in Boston as my Amsterdam to Boston international flight, and now I'm flying from Boston to Los Angeles domestically, I need to claim my bags in customs in Boston. Sometimes there's a gate agent, sometimes there's not, and they usually bring your bag to the new airline, but if they're not, you have to physically take your bag from customs and bring it to the airline at which you're traveling. A lot of people forget that, and a lot of people lose their bags that way. Now, when you don't bring your bag from customs, it's very rare that the airline is going to pay for the transportation to get your bag back to you. The thing is secondary. Whenever you're in the customs area, sometimes when you fill out paperwork, it might not be filled out properly. Some of the information you give may look a little sketchy. It happens sometimes. It's not necessarily your intent, but things look weird when you're coming from a different country sometimes. So they bring you into a place called secondary, where you get a little more questioning. It can be intense sometimes, but I always suggest that you be your most polite and respectful self, because I've seen customs rip people apart, take away passports. It's just not the best situation to get all snappy and smart, because they have full control of you at that time if you're coming from an international destination to the United States or if you're in another country. Be your most polite self, be compliant, listen to what they're saying and communicate. Don't give attitude, because it's not going to land you in the right place. Just be a good citizen. Sometimes you have to take that L in order to get forward in life. Do it. That is all my international tips. If you guys have any questions, make sure you hit me up. FlightCoachDrizzy@gmail.com, Instagram, FlightCoachDrizzy, YouTube, FlightCoachDrizzy. If you guys have any comments, concerns, comment below. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, subscribe, like, comment, share, subscribe again. And thank you guys for sticking with me. Stay tuned for another episode of Flight Coach Drizzy.